Hi, welcome back to my channel Read with Shubham. The most common problem that we all face, that is, we can't recall the vocabulary at the time of speaking. We might know some vocabulary because we might have been studying for a long time since our childhood, so we know some vocabulary, but why we are unable to use them, especially when we speak English. That's a common problem. You should not be so tensed, you should not be worried about this issue that you might have been facing. I do also face the same problem. I know some vocabulary, I learn some vocabulary every day, but at the time of speaking I forget. First of all, you have to understand that you are not from English medium background. In your family, in your society, nobody speaks in English. That's why we all basic learners face this problem to recall the vocabulary. But there are some solutions which we can follow. By following these methods, we can at least recall the vocabulary at the time of speaking. So what are the solutions? The solution is that we have to learn vocabulary, the basic vocabulary. If you are learning the advanced vocabulary at the time when you are a basic English learner, you are making a blunder. That is not the right time for you. Maybe your sentence formation is not accurate. Maybe you can't speak English properly. So why you are learning advanced vocabulary? Your main focus should be to frame the sentences properly. Then you can learn intermediate vocabulary, and then after that you can learn advanced vocabulary. So, and another thing, if you are learning so many vocabulary every day, means 10 to 15 vocabularies at the same time, so you are making a mistake by doing it, because our brain cannot remember so many vocabulary together. It is not possible. You will forget all of the vocabularies. So it is better to learn one or two vocabulary. You can remember them, you can use them in your conversation. And how to remember them? Whenever you learn any vocabulary, you have to write a story with the vocabulary. You can write anything on your notebook by using the vocabulary that you have learned. And after that, in your conversation, if you speak with anybody or if you speak with yourself, you have to use the vocabulary intentionally in your conversation. If you can follow these techniques, you can see that you can easily remember the vocabulary. And another technique is that if you watch any YouTube video, if you listen to podcast, so please watch one video more than 2 to 3 times until or unless you learn some vocabulary, until or unless you remember the vocabulary from that video. But what do? We simply watch YouTube videos one after another. We listen to so many English speakers, but in return we don't learn anything. So whenever you find any good vocabulary, you have to write the vocabulary then and there on your notebook. Only listening to the vocabulary, only learning the vocabulary is not going to help you if you don't know how to use the vocabulary in a sentence. So you can use Google to understand how to use this word in a sentence. I know very well there are so many English learners. They know that this is a word, but they don't know how to use it. Should they use the word as a noun or as an adjective or as an adverb? They don't know properly. So you have to know it. And reading can help you a lot. If you don't have the habit of reading books, my request to you to build the habit of reading books. You don't know, reading can help you in so many ways. Not only in learning vocabulary, it can help you in grammar, because in reading every sentences are written accurately with proper grammatical rules. So reading can help you in learning grammar, in learning vocabulary, and it can help you by giving knowledge, information. So you have to read books. And when you read books, different types of books, when you read, you come across the same vocabulary again and again, don't you? Yes, you see the same vocabulary again and again. And when you see the same vocabulary, you should not separately study the vocabulary, because when you observe the same vocabulary on the books, you can remember them, you can easily memorize them. So reading can help us in remembering the vocabulary. Please do it. And I know that most of the time when you read books, when you watch any video, you don't sit with a pen and paper. Why you don't sit with a pen and paper? Because pen and paper are attached with us. We are students, and pen and papers are an integral part in our life. So whenever you find any vocabulary, anything, you have to write down on your notebook, please, because next time you can use the vocabulary in your conversation. You can memorize them, you can mug up them from your notebook. And the most important thing, speaking. Speak more. If you speak more, you can easily recognize the vocabulary, you can easily remember them. If you speak less, that would be difficult for you to remember the vocabulary. Most of the time we complain that bro, we can't remember the vocabulary, what should you do? So before asking me this question, ask one question to yourself. Do you really practice English? Do you really speak English every day? Do you speak with people who are very good at speaking English? You have to speak with good English speakers who can use good English vocabulary. When you listen to them using good vocabulary, you can also learn from them. You can learn so many things from them. So that's why I always tell you, speak with people. Don't feel shy, don't feel afraid. We all are in the same boat. We are practicing English because we are not up to the mark in speaking English. That's why we all are practicing English. I am also practicing English. I am making this video, and this video is also a part of my practicing English. So please do all of these things, and definitely over the time you can use the vocabulary, but don't expect the result very soon. No, the result will not come very soon. The result will come very slowly, just like the story about the hare and a tortoise. The hare was so fast, but he lost the race because he was not consistent in racing. But on the contrary, the tortoise was slow, very slow, but he won the race just because that he was consistent in running. So maybe you don't know much, but you can be a winner by keeping consistency in your practice. Consistency in learning vocabulary, consistency in speaking English, consistency in reading books. That's all things you have to combine in your practice. Then only you can see the result in your speaking. So that's all in this video. If you like this video, please subscribe my channel. Till now, bye bye, take care.